Welcome back to another episode of the CineClub Podcast. I'm Jake.
I'm Billy.
I'm Rhys.
I'm Dion.
This week we're talking about those city-destroying nuisances, giant monsters, or more specifically the Japanese variety, commonly known nowadays as Kaiju.
Indeed, and the two Kaiju who have been known to make appearances at CineClub are both creations of Toho, who extensively made fantasy films featuring large creatures, all kicked off by 1954's Godzilla, suggested for CineClub by Steph, and the more colourful Mothra from 1961.
Suggested by me.
So, what do we think of the original Godzilla?
It's pretty sick.
It is pretty sick.
For what it was, it's very just wow.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I think the major drawback in it is the technology of the time.
I
would argue that I think that's what makes it very charming. Even while it's like derpy models of him, there's like at times very much well done shots.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the way they work, like the way they actually shoot them, and this is one that I'd noticed after watching the whole series that made me appreciate the first one more. It's one of the only ones where they try to shoot them to create scale. If you know, basically every shot of Godzilla is from a low angle, and it makes him look like an actual giant monster, whereas quite a lot of the other ones, when they're shot from like you're shooting a human actor, it's more like just watching two blokes punch each other.
Yeah.
Whereas that is like, it does that, and I think it works. And also, I just think he looks really cool in black and white. Like, he just looks much more menacing, I think, in which is part of the reason why -1 got a black and white version, I think, because they knew that he just looks mean. Like, he looks really, really cool, but like evil, you know?
Yeah.
For a man in a rubber suit, it's
For a
definitely intimidating.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like the floppy head or anything like the later ones do either.
Yeah.
Like, he's done very well. He only moves very slowly. They're very careful with him. I think those shots that you're on about with a low angle, I do think they run on a bit too long though, because this was 1954 and they were marveling at the technology of the time, going, wow, look at this, we can make them look massive. And I was like, yep, we get it. It's going on for 30 seconds, 1 minute. It's just people running around. I mean, yeah, wow, that's terrifying. I think something that you really can get out of the film though is like, if you really think about like the scale of it and the plot, you can get a lot of tension out of it.
Yeah.
Because the amount of resources that they pour into stopping Godzilla in this film, especially with the big electric fence that they put around the bay.
Oh, yeah.
And that must have cost absolutely loads of the Japanese government's money, right?
Yeah.
And it's their one defense. All the characters in the film are hoping for this thing to succeed.
Yeah.
Then Godzilla just smashes right through it. Like, that's the tension you get out of it when you put yourself in their position. Because when you're watching it, you can just turn your brain off and have it be mindless violence. But if you think about it more, it's like it's got loads of tension and scale to it.
It's a really depressing film because there is a lot of moments like that where they're like, well, like, we'll have to do something. They're all like, yeah, but like what can we do? And it's like, you see so much of the aftermath of like, it's like one of the only ones where it really focuses on what it means that Godzilla is attacking rather than just like, oh no, there's a giant monster coming. It's like, there's a giant monster coming. The giant monster's left. Got a hospital full of kids with no parents now. Enjoy. And it's like, oh my God, like, you know, it's really harrowing. And there's so many moments that like drive that point home. And I mean, we touched upon it briefly in the Grave of the Fireflies episode about how it's like the whole, you know, post-war metaphor for the nuclear weapons and all of that kind of thing. But this one really does drive that point of like, and because it's so fresh off the heels of that really happening, you know, you get the thing with the mom and her two kids. It's like, don't worry, we'll join your dad in heaven soon. And it's like, oh my God, you know, like it's really harrowing.
It's funny when you compare it to other Godzilla films after that. Like,
I get that. Like any of the others, like
the first film ends with them making a bomb that can like stop Godzilla, but it's worse than a nuclear bomb. They've made a worse thing, and they're all looking ahead, thinking, "Oh my God, what's this going to mean for the world?" Then you skip ahead about 3 films. He's face planting into a tower.
He's just doing the jumping up dancing thing.
He does the dance and
on the move.
You ever fighting King Kong of all people?
I love that.
Oh, that's such a funny film, man. I love it. I love it so much.
For all the versus films, though, like you've got that harrowing post-war metaphor, and then a couple of films down the line, he's fighting a big robot version of himself, or he's fighting King Kong, or he's fighting another one that we've just mentioned, Mothra.
Yeah, sludge monster as well. Can't forget.
Well, that's it though. There's always some sort of metaphor because I mean, like the Hedorah thing is like that's a blatant in your face psychedelic 70s. Oh man, the planet's like totally screwed. You know, like save the Earth and all of that. And it's like, oh, I hate that film. That's the only Godzilla film that I really cannot defend. Like I like a lot of the really bad ones. But that one one's really, really despicably bad. And some people love it. Like, I know some people who like literally have like every piece of memorabilia associated with that film because they love it so much.
That's very bizarre.
I just don't get it.
That one of all of them.
That one, I know, it's just daft.
Yeah. I think, again, the technology holding the film back, I think that really happens. It's really visible in the ending as well. Because that's like the climax of the film where the two scientists, where they go down and put the bomb right next to Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's not really any tension in that. Because he's just having a kip.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't wake up at any point. He doesn't try and stop them. They just kind of walk up to him and do it. And they're just, again, trying to display the technology at the time.
I'm still shocked of how the film ended, though. Because for me, I always thought, they survived. And then, like, no, it's legitimately a sacrifice at the end. And that, like, caught me off guard, even watching it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Godzilla sequels, I'm very thankful that they exist. But at the same time, I think the fact that there are sequels sort of makes that first ending kind of hollow, because I love that whole thing where it's like, you know, we need to stop experimenting with these weapons, otherwise we'll have another Godzilla. And then like 1 year later, oh no, another Godzilla! Oh no,
500 Godzillas,
more Godzillas that just keep going and going.
And you've got all the ones where it just keeps returning to that first film, just not acknowledging the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
that's true. They do the Halloween reboot treatment where they're like, actually, this one's a sequel to the first one, and we're ignoring everything else, which suggests, because that throws me off. Like, you know, in your head, in my head, I always think, oh, it's just the same Godzilla in each one. But basically all of them, some of them are like either another Godzilla, like a monster that's similar. Technically not Godzilla, though. They call it Godzilla, but it's not really. Or they'll be like, you know, Godzilla's kid, or there'll be some alternate timeline version of Godzilla, which they do in the 90s. There's so many different versions. It's like, you know, it's... And even, like you say, what was the Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, where they do that, where they build the Kiryu on the bones of the original, and then the Godzilla in that film's just another Godzilla that's really similar.
And then didn't they like make not a reboot, but like very soft reboot where it's like, oh, Godzilla 2000 and stuff like that.
Oh, Godzilla 2000. Oh, that is one to talk about.
Godzilla 2000 is a good one. I quite like it, but it's one of them ones where they didn't want to make it, but I think the TriStar American one forced their hand. They weren't going to bother. They were like, oh, we're done. We've killed Godzilla. We're sorted. And then they were like, are you joking? This is what they think Godzilla is? No, we're going to teach them how to make Godzilla films. And then they went and made another one. It was like...
I also think they can't let the US one up there anymore. That's the thing. We're having this like Godzilla arms race at the moment.
Godzilla arms race.
Fine, I don't think.
Can America or Japan make a good one? Let's find out.
The American crap they're pumping out at the minute isn't going to touch Godzilla -1.
No. I think there's never been a better time to be a Godzilla fan, to be honest, because I think we're living in a timeline where you're simultaneously getting like Showa-esque Godzilla films where it's like daft monster of the week, useless human characters, like better special effects, admittedly, but like basically the same plot as like any Godzilla film from the 60s or the 70s coming in from America, of all places. And then in Japan, you've got like the actual serious, really hardcore, like harrowing stuff. Like it's the two sides of Godzilla. And I think the fact that we're getting both at the same time isn't something that's ever really happened before. So usually either get one or the other. And sure, it goes in fits and starts where they'll be like, they'll start with the best intentions and they'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to make a really serious one this time. Then one film later, they're like, oh, he's fighting this thing. And it's like, you know, but it is quite cool that like there's both, they can both coexist at the same time.
That's what I think 2014 was. It was trying to be Godzilla Raids again. Like, it has the monster fights, and it has the harrowing
exactly, while still
metaphor.
trying to be the whole, like, human, like, metaphor. Problem with 2014 is it's too dark. Yeah. You can't see anything. It's like, it's fine. I'm sure it would be alright. It would be better if A, they didn't kill off Bryan Cranston too early, and B, they just cranked the lights up a little bit.
The thing is, if they didn't kill Bryan Cranston too early, the film would have probably been good.
That's exactly what I mean. It's like, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it had the makings of something really good, and it's still one that, like, I don't hate it, you know, it's fine. It's just a bit boring. Yeah. It's like, it's okay.
When he does show up, though, it's great. Like, especially at the end, when he's actually fighting the Mutos and, like, lasers the throat off that one.
Yes, when he does the atomic breath for the first time, that is one of the greatest moments in the whole series. That part is, like, brilliant. But they always do that, though. It's like, I could make, like a top 10 atomic breath reveals in Godzilla films, though, because there's so many moments where it's like they like build up to it and they know you sort of expect it. It's like, it's
King of the Monsters had a really good one.
Yeah, King of the Monsters was really good.
Which honestly is probably the last like good American Godzilla, because most of him he's a side character.
Did you know? I like King of the Monsters because that's another one where it's like I feel like that was when they started heading in the direction of the sort of like a 70s. It's basically like a Hollywood remake of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster or Invasion of Astro Monster, depending on where you're listening to this from. But it's the human characters are a bit crap.
It just felt like Americanized slop.
It was a slop film, I get it, but it's just cool.
It's just cool. I mean, most of these films are cool because that's the thing. Like, I've got no shame in admitting that most Godzilla films are slop. It's just, it doesn't make them any less slop that they're made in Japan. It's just that, like, that's just the nature of some of them.
It's that like that viewpoint would be like thing Japan.
Thing but Japanese. Yeah. It's like, it's just as fucking daft and stupid and it has just as many silly, like side characters. I mean, the human characters in some of these Godzilla films, most of them are like either annoying idiots or, you know.
I'd defend the human characters here.
Do you defend some of them?
I defend them. Out of the ones I've seen, it's always a reporter, which I wonder why.
The early run, I think, did have some really good ones. Like, I really like the gang of them in Mothra versus Godzilla, like, and just Mothra, because like the little gang of like reporters doing the sort of like the whole thing. I mean, I've been flashbanged by the King Kong versus Godzilla where they start giving out cigarettes and stuff. They're like, look, they're happy because they're smoking. It's like, it's so funny, but yeah, it's, I don't know, most of them are alright. I think it's once they start doing the whole savior of the children, like when they're copying the Gamera approach where like the main character will be some like really annoying little brat, and it's like I mean, Godzilla versus Megalon does that a little bit, but like not massively.
Godzilla King of the Monsters does that a tiny bit too.
King of the Monsters does that a little bit, but that's more like a Millie Bobby Brown,
she was in that, wasn't she?
She was.
Oh my God.
She was in
She
King
was
Kong.
terrible.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
That's another reason I didn't like it. The human subplot was terrible. It was stupid.
Yeah.
I don't remember a thing about them.
Yeah, it's hard to remember, but
exactly.
It's stupid. It felt like a load of spectacle padded out with like a really terrible story, just full of contrivances just to get something from A to B. So like you could get a big CGI monster fight, which if that's your bag, then fair enough. But it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Ken Watanabe, I think.
Yes, he takes him in the submarine.
He takes him in the goodbye, my old friend, and he sacrifices himself to power him up again. It's like, I think I like those moments like that where it is quite cool, and I think that's like the whole. I like the fact he like respects the balance between like humans and nature and that kind of thing. Like that's quite a cool characteristic and very, very Godzilla. But like, yeah. Anyway, the 1954 one is very good. I think it's not my favorite. I prefer some of the more silly ones. There's a balance. I think some of them can be silly while still not being completely stupid. I think Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla does it quite well because that one, it's like the concept is quite silly, but they like sort of treat it with a level of respect where you can almost take it seriously. Like I think the whole thing and also just the whole approach that like we're like trying to come up with a way to make both. So they knew that Godzilla was a hero now. Then they were like, but we need like a mean Godzilla as well. We need both. So they were like, what if there was just two of them and one of them's a robot? And they were like, genius. And it's fair enough because it does work. And then you get this new Godzilla who can shoot lasers, and he's got
laser fingers.
He's like Bonfire Night. There's like that one bit and like towards the end where he like basically just unloads all of his weaponry all at once. And like how they didn't just get blown to pieces, I really don't know. Because
that's what I was wondering.
This is just a guy standing there with like fireworks going off on like.
Is he the one who can use his tail to slide?
Is that the drop kick?
That was just versus Megalon. That's where he does the drop kick. And he's got
is that him supporting himself on his tail, or is that just a really stupid way of doing it?
That's what I was thinking. Is it tail suspension? Is it like a scale extra car where he's like plugged in and sort of dragging along, or is it just that he's just got enough momentum to fly? I personally believe he just flies. It's
aerodynamic Godzilla.
How do you think Godzilla drop kicks? Let us know, because I mean, I guess it's the tail suspension according to Rhys, but who knows?
I believe that. I believe the tail.
You believe that? Tail is real theory.
So
What do we think of the very much slightly friendly Mothra then?
Slightly friendly.
Slightly. Well, yeah, she is slightly friendly. Still batters everyone. But
No, the thing that really got me about that, right, is Mothra, when she first awakens from her cocoon, right, in full Mothra mode, she flaps her wings, right, and everything goes flying. People, cars, buildings, everything's flying about. Then when she reaches that airport, right, at the end, when she's happy and friendly,
that's true.
Everything's fine. She doesn't knock out, she wouldn't hurt a fly then. So she's doing that on purpose.
That would have been
Put in Newkirk City, getting all the cars bashed about the whole place.
I think that would have been a funnier ending if they're all like, yay, they're safe, it's all right. And then they all get blown away.
That's what the final challenge was. How do we get Mothra to land without blowing away?
Without literally killing everyone.
It's like a SpongeBob meme where it's like, oh, Patrick, we've saved the day.
There's nothing left. Yeah, exactly. I don't even mind though, because it's like they destroyed, America, so it's like just smashing up false America. So there's not
Rulisica. What a name.
Newkirk City.
And maybe Mothra is the queen that we need all along.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's quite cool, quite interesting about Mothra, because it's basically that, like, unlike a lot of other monsters, you have to piss her off first.
Yeah.
It's like she won't just attack unprovoked. She only attacks because they've nicked our little pals. Like, they took our little friends from our island.
We love the little groupies.
The little groupies,
so
I know,
good.
they're like the little twin fairies are like the best part. And they're singing away, and they're all like, this Mothra's just made up. You're just like, and then he's like, oh no, that's Mothra. It's like, never mind.
Thing is, though, the main villain, what's his name again?
Nelson,
that's it. I really like his death scene. I was expecting him to be like, no, Mothra, stop, and he gets like crushed or something like that. But he just gets shot.
He just gets gunned
he has
down
like
by
he has
the
like a
police.
massive crash out at the end and gets shot by the police. I really
He
like
runs
that.
away.
It was quite brutal for the rest of the film.
It is brutal, really, compared to the like sort of child-friendly, colourful, furry Mothra, and then this guy getting gunned down in broad daylight because he's just been like too much of an arsehole to everyone.
Because I think past raids again, we don't really see many humans die in the Godzilla
Not
attacks.
really,
it's more
no,
just like empty buildings.
Yeah,
and that's
the
what I
odd
kind of miss.
But you don't.
If someone does die, it's the villain.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about Mothra. Mothra's good because of that.
Yes,
she seems nicer, even though she does nearly wash away that baby in the dam.
That's true. Yeah, that part that's slightly more. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Also, I feel clickbaited by that film because for the majority of the film,
Mothra's hardly
just a big wiggly turd.
You think
for most of that film?
I hate the lava design.
The lava,
horrible.
It's just so boring, isn't it? Because there's no interest in the action. Like Godzilla, he's got his hands, he's got his tail, he's got his breath. Baby Mothra just like smacks into things.
It's such a generic design.
Occasionally, I'm so glad it's not just because me and my dad always called it Turd Mothra. We've been calling it Turd Mothra for years. So as soon as I saw you put it, that you were like, it's like she's a wiggly turd for most of it, which is true. But like, I think that it's
just a bit. It's a bit too kaiju light for me at times. It's sort of. I enjoyed it for what it was, but like I would have appreciated a bit more oomph, a bit more.
Yeah, it's like Captain Planet, isn't it?
Like you say, it's just Mothra wiggling around looking like a big turd for most of it, smacking into things. Then in the last 15-20 minutes, she finally transforms, and then you get the thing that was advertised on the poster.
Yeah.
About like the last 10 minutes of it, really.
The film would be over in an instant if she was out of form to start with, though.
Yeah, I quite like that, though, because I think I almost like the build-up where they're all standing around. And I know it goes on a bit too long when they've got them cool fire cannons.
I noted this down, right? Because the sentence was insane that they say. I had a few notes about the film, right?
They do this quite a lot in Godzilla films where they'll have like a fantasy weapon that they've created, and it's basically just like little scratchings on the film of like, and it looks really cool, but go on.
I quoted down, direct quote from the subtitles on the film. We've got to call in the Rulisican Atomic Heat Ray Brigade.
Yeah, and they just and they sit there for hours burning away at this thing, and then it burns up. They're all like, "Yeah, get in! We've defeated Mothra, thank God!" And then the butterfly comes out.
Why didn't they shoot her when she came out as a moth?
Yeah, exactly. And I think
they're all just too plugged in, surely.
Yeah, they were all too mortified. They were like, "Oh, hang on a minute."
I wonder what would happen to the island if Mothra died, though.
Mothra does die.
Mothra does die, yeah.
Like, Mothra's like a life cycle thing.
They just keep
there isn't one
repeating
Mothra.
a new Mothra in basically every film.
I quite like that because she's like based on an actual moth in that way, because some moths, when they do reach adult form, they can't eat, they can't like live, they just exist to breed and then die.
Yeah.
And Mothra, like adult form Mothra needs to be nerfed constantly.
Yeah, because
in versus Godzilla, she's kicking his ass. It's so
Basically,
embarrassing.
yeah.
Just dragging him around by the tail. It's so funny.
And then Mothra showed up in like the new Godzilla film, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She puts up quite a fight, really, given all things considered, that she is just a butterfly thing. Like, you know, it's,
like she's like a glass cannon of the kaiju. If we're going to power scale the kaiju right now,
she's very much the peace one.
Yeah, she's the peaceful one who's like
the peacekeeper.
No one wants to fight. She doesn't want to fight, but when she does fight, she means it.
Well, that's one of the best things in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, where the two twin fairies show up and they translate the monster conversation. So Mothra goes as the peacekeeper, basically saying, like, Jesus Christ, look at what King Ghidorah is doing. You two are way stronger than me. You help us out. And it's Rodan and Godzilla are just like bickering this whole time. And there's like you get the conversation translated and they're all like, oh, Godzilla, what terrible language. It's like, it's so stupid. It's like, you can like you like the way they're all like standing looking at each other. You can imagine them like arguing, and then she goes to fight Ghidorah and gets her arse handed to her because she's still in turd form at that point. So you think this is disappointing. For most of the rest of the series, she just shows up at turd form. Yeah,
that's really disappointing.
But the billet as Mothra is in this film, and then you watch it and you're like, she'll grow up, and turn into very rarely.
Really,
Ghidorah the three-headed monster. It's the turd Mothra for most of it. She was going to be in Invasion of Astro Monster, but they cut her out because the budget was going too high. And then Destroy All Monsters, which is like the ultimate monster mash, which, to be fair, I can see why they couldn't afford another bloody flying puppet on that set. They already had like 3 of them. But yeah, she's just a turd Mothra on that one as well,
disappointing,
which is quite sad.
See, I mean, the nerfed her.
They had to nerf her because A, she was too expensive and complicated, and B, she was too powerful for everyone else.
So they had the budget cut her.
They just had to like cut her out.
I would love to be the person who's puppeteering Mothra, by the way.
It'd be so fun.
In versus Godzilla, when Godzilla's like on the floor wriggling about and she's just like kind of dropping on him over and over again, just being the guy above Godzilla, just go with the little puppet
just
strings,
like smashing it down on top of the suit actor. It's like, I know.
What do we think of the human characters in Mothra though?
I really like
them. I think they're a good little gang. I think they're much more likable than most of the others.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually sort of care what's going to happen to them. I like the comedian one who's.
You could argue he's one of the main protagonists.
The main one who's who sort of goes around with them, but the one who always he lies and gets his way into fights accidentally, and they have to save him. I can't remember what he's called. He might be like Chujo or something like that. But
yes, is he not the scientist guy, the linguist guy?
That might be Chujo.
That's Chujo.
Right.
Are we on about the reporter guy?
The reporter guy who finds
the most.
who's like the sort of comic relief. He's really funny. I like the fact that they have like a character like that in it because he's just quite an endearing human character. He's
a mirror of Mothra in a way as well because he's nerfed. He's like a hidden weapon.
Yeah,
he meets those 4 guys at that one point, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
The 4-armed security leads them into like this choke point on the stairs and he bashes them all down the stairs.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I know.
He nearly kills most of them, and even he's a bit like, oh Christ, I didn't mean to do that.
I know you don't expect it to. I thought he was going to get beaten up. I thought you meant another thing, right?
Go on.
Shinji, the little kid.
Oh, the kid.
I thought they killed him,
Yes.
I thought they killed the kid. When he sneaks into the villain's house.
And they've got no mercy, so you think,
they choke him out. And then in the next scene, when they're looking for him, they're seeing his feet under the table. I think, oh my God, they've killed him.
Yeah. That's what Gamera films are like. Every Gamera film is like that, where it'll be some kid gets involved with like the Japanese mafia, and then the giant rubbery turtle flies in to save him. It's like the stupidest thing ever. But that's a good point. Yeah, I forgot.
To be honest, it's about Mothra is like very unnecessary funny at the same time.
It is a funny film. It's intentionally funny, and it's more intentionally funny than unintentionally funny, which a lot of these films are unintentionally funny, but the
subgenre of giant monster films is pretty broad. What are some of your other favourites?
Well, there's a little anime called Evangelion.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
right. I know you're not any of a fan, Billy, so we'll skip this bit, right?
I've never watched it.
My one statement about it is that it manages to be some absolute madness, depressing stuff, but also a great episodic, mecha.
It is I feel like it's the bridge between Godzilla fans and anime fans, because I think I watched Eva and Godzilla around the same time. I binged basically the entire Godzilla series and was watching Eva. I think the two are just melded together in my mind now. I do think you would probably quite like it if you can get over the sort of anime sensibility.
The
first 7 episodes are very weird. At least the rebuild films do sort that out.
Don't watch the rebuilds.
Don't do that. Anyway, but anyway.
Other kaiju films.
I think
Pacific Rim is one to mention.
Pacific Rim's one to mention, but leading on from Mothra, I think the original King Kong, because it's basically it's a very similar plot. Like it's effectively the same sort of thing. And I remember when I was researching that essay. Actually, it was when I was doing that thing about the host. I never really put it together that much until I read an article. I was like, oh yeah, it's like a guy steals stuff from an island to get a show. It all goes wrong.
Well, yeah, as soon as he walked out in the suit and started introducing it, I was like, this is just King Kong.
It's just King Kong, yeah, exactly. And I think the original King Kong is the benchmark. That's, stupidly impressive special effects.
I remember watching that as a kid, like not knowing what King Kong was.
Yeah.
And that was the first one I seen, the original black and white one when it was on BBC.
Really?
Yeah.
I really wish that I could have done that, because I think I watched the Peter Jackson one first and just thought it was a bit boring. Like, it's okay.
It's 3 hours long, isn't it?
It's too long. Why is it 3 hours long?
I appreciate the trend of making Skull Island like a proper island.
Yeah,
and not
that's
just
fair
a place where
enough,
Kong is, like having the dinosaurs and the big worms and that.
I
They do that in the original though as well.
Kong Skull Island.
And Kong Skull Island's
Island.
awesome. Yeah, that's a great film too.
Kong in general is like the second most rated kaiju. I think he's the second best one.
I think depending on who you ask. I mean, I've always thought Godzilla wipes the floor easily, but I still love King Kong. He's just cool. So and I do love that original film, because it's like, I just love, like, it's just so animated. Like, I mean, no pun intended, because I know it is stop motion, but like, but how do they get him looking like his little face moves, and he just looks like a proper little character, and it's like, I just love him. It's like, even though it's like the all of the other films try to make more of a point of the whole, human Kong connection and the sympathy, but I feel more sympathy for him in that first film, because he just looks like a real dude, I'm just like,
King Kong's funny to me because always at the end they have to kill him off, unless you're making him trilogy or franchisable.
Yeah, Grant. Well, that's one thing that I quite like about the MonsterVerse, because he's not just plain fodder. He actually puts up a fight and doesn't just die straight away.
King Kong made me very sad as a kid. I'm with you on that.
It is, it's a sad film.
When I remember having the original in the background, or one variation of it on in the background as a kid. I was thinking, why they locked him up? I know, Man Kong, he looked very sad, and as a kid, it's a very easy form of sympathy to get behind, I think.
Yeah.
Which is why he's so effective.
It does.
He's a free man, he's a free monkey, Kong. And then he gets locked up, and that photo of him in the cage, that image of him in the cage on the stage, it makes him look really, really sad.
It does.
It just plays on your heartstrings, man. Because he's more of a sympathetic character than Godzilla, most of the kaiju, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's like a big primate.
Yeah,
because
he's not he's not really a product of human creation. He's just a naturally occurring thing that blows everybody's mind, and then they're like, oh, I'll have to have a bit of that. I say everybody, I mean the Americans.
Yeah. He doesn't really do anything wrong, does he, Kong?
Not really.
Godzilla, we get him. He's like enemy number one most of the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, he smashes stuff up, but it's only because he's confused. It's not because he's intentionally trying to wreak havoc and get revenge on humanity or whatever. It's just because he doesn't know.
They did go in his land without asking, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's it. They literally they leg it to his island and take him from his house, and it's just not cool. Although to be fair, I mean, actually, I'm saying all that. There is that whole thing when he's on Skull Island and he's going around stamping all of the locals and the villagers and stuff.
Oh, that's true. The tribe.
The tribe, he kind of. But even then, that's a bit because they're sacrificing themselves to him. He just takes a few more than they anticipated. But it's a great film, King Kong. I don't know. I mean, I sort of already mentioned Gamera.
We've skimmed Pacific Rim.
Cloverfield's a good one.
Cloverfield's a really good one. Yeah,
that's good, kaiju horror, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very much you're seeing it from a camera perspective before the event is going on.
Yeah,
it's one of those films that I feel like has a really good. It's got a really good hook where it's imagine a Godzilla film but found footage.
Yeah.
And it actually delivers on that hook. Yeah. I think it's there's quite a few films where you're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, and it's nowhere near as cool as you'd think it would be. Cloverfield is one of those films where it gets away with it for me. I think it's really good.
It's very bleak also.
It's very bleak. Very bleak. And it's not that long. It's only 90 minutes. Yeah. It's for a film like that, made in America, I would have thought it would be like
you would
King
think
Kong.
You would think for being an American movie too, there will be a happy ending. Or there's nothing.
There's nothing. No, it's the end of the world, and then it just stops. And that's so cool.
They kill T.J. Miller, so
hey, maybe it's not such a bad ending after all. But yeah, Cloverfield's good.
Yeah, Pacific Rim as well.
Another
bridge between Kaiju and Mecha.
That's effectively the sort of American remake of Evangelion with
And then the second one is definitely more
second
of a
one's,
film.
yeah.
I hate that film.
I've never seen the second one.
The second
really
one
good.
is
No second one, what are you on about?
just bad.
Everybody just says it's bad. I just
Yeah.
don't bother watching films that everybody says is bad. It's like if I'm
Yeah.
tempted.
Yeah, Dion.
Yeah, exactly. You could learn a thing or two from that.
Because like the original Godzilla keeps the weight to the monsters and the mechas.
Yeah,
I think
which
with the punches that they see all the water come off and use the
yeah, I
as a
do-
sword.
I like that.
And then the
That's
second
really
one, they
cool.
are doing like Ava flips and jumps, and they have like
Yeah,
mech-sized machine guns.
yeah. The first one feels much more believable and realistic, as in like that could actually happen.
Mhm.
Like it's not something that could actually
Yeah.
happen. But
Who knows?
if the government did make giant robots that Navy people were piloting, I'd imagine they would like fight like that, and
Yeah.
it would work out like that.
Mhm.
And Idris Elba's in it as like the sort
yeah.
of commander guy, and he's really cool.
Mhm.
He's always really
I actually watched the
but
first one just recently, like I think a few days ago or so.
Oh,
and I
nice.
thought, wow.
It's been a few
like,
years for me. Like,
Yeah.
but
I feel like I was like late to the party a bit, but like man, it's such a great film.
it's
like,
it is really good. Yeah,
like I love how like they make this like a realistic like world.
Mhm.
But like it's set in this like very much fantasy kaiju, and they have like
Yeah.
the whole idea that like
I love
it's
the kaiju.
fun, cool.
The kaiju designs as well.
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. That they managed to like bridge the gap between monster and alien
Yes,
really well.
I think it's
They
because
look
it's
so creepy.
It's got that Del Toro sort of touch on it as well.
Mhm.
The fact that you can tell he's just a massive sucker for like Ultraman and all that sort of Japanese tokusatsu Godzilla-y
Yeah.
stuff. You can tell he's a fan, you know, and I think that's like it is like a Western monster film made for like the sort of fans of that,
Mhm,
like all
mhm.
things monsters, while still being quite an accessible blockbuster. for,
Yeah.
you know,
Because it's an easy concept to get behind, isn't it?
it's an easy
Big
concept to
monster
get
fight
behind,
big
and
robot.
it was come right off the heels of the Transformers films
Yeah.
as well. So it was like ridiculously
Right.
easy sell to anyone,
Yeah.
really. So, but yeah, those are good ones. The Rodan solo film's really good as well. Also, if he's like Mothra, it's another one that was made in that sort of window in between the first Godzilla film and before King Kong versus Godzilla happened, and there was sort of establishing the Toho cinematic universe.
That's what I was thinking. But
That's
last
what it's
night.
like.
It is the MCU of its time, isn't it?
This is my MCU. It's
Mhm.
like it basically establishes all these different monsters and just occasionally does crossovers
Yeah.
with them.
I thought
and
it was like
like-
an unrelated company thing. Me when I was first
No,
heard that
no,
was Mothra
yeah,
and like a
uh-huh.
Rodan solo film. I thought they were just like, oh, Toho, do you want to work with Godzilla? Do you want to put Mothra and Godzilla? Yeah, sure.
Basically, that was
That-
what they did, yeah. Because I
That's a
think
brilliant idea.
they just got that strategy from King Kong versus Godzilla, and they were like, right,
Mhm.
we need to do this again, but without having to pay fees to license other people's
Yeah.
monsters. So they had Rodan and Godzilla that already sort of done that, and then Mothra and all of that. They were like, oh, well, let's just make some more and throw
Mhm.
some more in, and then throw Ghidorah and all of the others in,
Yeah.
gradually like adding more and more monsters.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Rodan film, even on its own, is good. Although, unlike Mothra, you know how Mothra flaps her wings and
Yeah.
destroys stuff. Rodan flies like Concorde, basically. He flies like a jet, and everything underneath him explodes. It's like even more confusing
Is
than
he like?
Mothra.
Is he like going like Mach 10 speed and just
He
the
goes like,
sound wave it just
oh
smashes
yeah,
everything
well,
up,
and there's like a sound when
Aye.
he flies, so he's like, so it's like a jet, and he goes like really fast, and it's like it's so stupid.
Okay,
but it's-
Rodan's cool. Yeah.
Rodan's cool
I've
as
only
hell.
seen
It's
him
like-
in King of the Monsters, where he comes out of the volcano, which
Yeah.
is it's a brilliant
That part's
shot by the way.
really
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, well, they sort of live up to that because the original Rodan film, he lives in a volcano, and that's where they find him, and that's like where his family comes from. So he is like a fire bird.
Yeah.
It's really funny when he has to land though, because they're like,
How did they land him?
they basically just drop a bloke in a suit, like so. So there's like all these like shots where they're like, it's just like a guy falling onto a city because he's like, it's really funny.
Does he ever
But-
walk around on the floor?
He doesn't really walk around. He kind of like lands and then like flaps about
Okay, right,
and moves
yeah.
his head and gets
Yeah.
like shot at and stuff. But like
in a rubber suit too.
in a rubber suit, yeah, a rubber suit and occasionally like a little puppet. So I don't know if
Alright.
you've ever noticed when you watch Godzilla films, they'll occasionally switch to like
I've seen that.
a little hand
It's
puppet, and
when
it'll
they
look like
when they shove Godzilla and Kong down the mountain.
yeah,
Again, and they're just
It's
bouncing
just-
along because
they're
they're
just
like,
like rolling
lightweight
down,
figures. It's so funny. Mhm.
But
Jinx.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is pretty cool. That was one of Harryhausen's early films.
What happens in that one?
It's basically Godzilla, but made by American people. It's the reason why Harryhausen really doesn't like Godzilla, because it came out the same year, and it's basically the same plot, where like they find this giant lizard monster that's been mutated by nuclear radiation, and it comes and smashes up New York. But it's really cool. It's
more
like
B-movie-esque, isn't
it's
it?
more B-movie-esque, and it sort of fits more into that. It's more like one of those 50s Atomic Age sort of like sci-fi horror-y films, like the original The Thing and stuff like that. It's more like that than Godzilla, but it has that sort of elevated quality because of the fact that special effects are so good.
Yeah.
It's like proper stop motion and it looks really, really good. And then the like whole final showdowns at like Coney Island and stuff.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
they'll like set fire to like the roller coaster and like trap them in the middle or something. It's really cool. It's a good film. Well, I think that is all of the building crushing fun we have time for this week. So tell us, what are your favourite kaiju films? Let us know at cineclub.podcast@sparksunderland.com.
Or you can contact us at the CineClub Podcast _Spark on Instagram, another way to keep up to date on all the latest CineClub developments. Also, if TikTok is more your thing, we have one of them. Find us at the.cineclub.podcast. We would love to hear from you. Any feedback would be great.
As always, this episode was recorded and produced by us, the Sunderland University students, as well as being edited by Emily Main, and a special thanks to Steve Cannon, Barbara Sadler and Richard Berry. A reminder that our 4 monsters this week have consisted of me, Rhys,
me, Dion,
me, Billy,
and me, Jake. This has been a CineClub production for Spark. Thanks for listening.